The email hit my inbox at 8:47 a.m. Amanda, see me in my office. 9:30. Carter Boyd, CEO. No please, no thank you. Just an order. I knew what it meant. For weeks, whispers had slithered through Vertex Solutions, budget cuts, restructuring, redundancies. The new CEO, Carter, had a reputation. He liked firing people face to face, said it built character. I sipped my coffee, staring at the screen. 10 years. 10 years of being the one who stayed late, who smoothed over disasters, who made the deals happen. And now, a 30-second meeting to toss me out. Fine. 9:28 a.m. CEO's office. Carter didn't look up when I walked in, just gestured to the chair like I was a client he'd already bored to death. Amanda, we're making changes. No small talk, no pretense, just a knife to the gut, wrapped in corporate jargon. I crossed my legs. What kind of changes? He finally met my eyes, smug, enjoying this. Your position's being eliminated, effective immediately. I didn't blink. I see. A flicker of annoyance. He wanted drama, wanted me to crumble so he could play the magnanimous boss. We'll give you a reference. Instead, I smiled. I accept. His fingers twitched. What? I said I accept. I stood up, straightening my blazer. Is there anything else? Silence. Then a dismissive wave. HR will handle your exit. Of course, no thank you. No apology. Just another checkbox on his to-do list. Fire Amanda. Move on. I walked out without looking back. 10:15 a.m. My desk. The office was a graveyard of sideways glances. Some pitiful, some relieved. Glad it's her, not me. I opened my drawer, pulled out the flash drive I'd prepared weeks ago. Click, click, click. Files transferred, emails forwarded, contacts saved. Linda from HR hovered nearby, fake sympathy dripping from her voice. Need help packing? I didn't look up. No. She hesitated. You're taking this, well, because you haven't realized what I've done yet. I slid my last notebook into my bag. Funny, isn't it? How much you can learn about a company in 10 years. Her smile faltered. I stood shouldering my purse. Tell Carter something for me. What? Enjoy the next board meeting. Then I walked out, past the cubicles, past the stunned stares, past the life I'd just obliterated with 2 words. Because they'd made one fatal mistake. They'd forgotten who actually held the power. You don't stay 10 years at a company like Vertex Solutions unless you're either too comfortable to leave or too stubborn to quit. I was the latter. When I first joined, I didn't have much. A modest resume, quiet confidence, and a ridiculous ability to read people. I wasn't flashy. I didn't shout in meetings or hog credit. I was just there, making things work, quietly closing deals others couldn't even get a meeting for. After a while, they started calling me the deal whisperer. Not to my face, of course, but I heard them. I built relationships like bridges, strong, invisible, vital. CEOs, procurement heads, legal departments, they knew me, trusted me. Because I didn't just sign papers, I listened, understood, and delivered. But inside Vertex, I was background noise. They chalked up every success to our brand recognition, our market position, as if the brand got on a red-eye flight to Tokyo to salvage a broken deal. As if the market position was the one who negotiated a multi-million-dollar contract clause by clause with Tech Global's stone-faced legal team. No, that was me. Still, promotions never came. Raises were thin, and recognition? A generic, good job, Amanda, in a mass email once a year. I wasn't bitter. Not really. I told myself I was above all that. That results mattered more than titles. But then Carter Boyd arrived. Carter wasn't subtle. He didn't bother with fake smiles or performative kindness. He walked into Vertex like he already owned the place, and everyone in it. 45, tan, power suit, always holding his phone like it was an extension of his ego. He loved buzzwords and hated nuance. Streamline, cut fat, optimize human capital. To him, people were numbers, and I was just a line item. I could feel it from our first handshake, that flicker of dismissiveness behind his eyes. He didn't see me. Not really. Just a woman in a blazer who talked too calmly and didn't fit into his high-value executive fantasy. Still, I did my job. I always did my job. And then the whispers began. Cost cutting. Department reshuffling. Deadweight reduction. You could almost feel the tension humming in the halls like fluorescent light buzz. I wasn't scared. I was ready. More ready than they knew. Then came the moment that turned my simmering disappointment into quiet resolve. It was at a corporate event, one of those forced smile mixers where the wine flows and the masks come off. I was near the back, grabbing a drink, when I heard Carter's voice from the other side of a half-wall divider. He was laughing. Loud, obnoxious. I wouldn't have paid attention until I heard my name. Amanda? Please. She's sweet, sure. But why would I pay more for someone who will work like a vice president on an assistant's salary? Laughter. From HR, from sales. Like it was a joke, but I wasn't laughing. That was the moment. Right then. Something in me flipped. Not rage, not sorrow. Clarity. They saw me as invisible, replaceable, a cost. Fine. Let them. I didn't cry. I didn't storm out. I finished my wine, smiled at the intern standing next to me, and walked away. That night, I didn't sleep. I planned. I reviewed every contract I'd ever negotiated, every clause, every client. I started adding language. Small, technical, almost invisible. Nothing sneaky, nothing illegal, just precise. Should Amanda Weller be removed from her position at Vertex Solutions, this contract may be subject to renegotiation. Buried in the legalese, approved by legal, signed by every client. No one noticed. Or if they did, they didn't care. They should have. And while they were busy ignoring me, I was building something. Registered a business name, opened accounts, set up encrypted file storage. Quietly reached out to a few trusted clients. Off the record. Hypothetically, I'd ask, if I were to start my own consulting firm, would you consider switching? Most said yes. Some said hell yes. I never confirmed anything. Just smiled. By the time that meeting invite hit my inbox, cold and impersonal, I had everything I needed. 10 years of loyalty, 10 years of being overlooked, 10 years of leverage. So when Carter finally called me into his office and tried to drop the axe, I handed him the blade. Let him think he won. Let him think I was just some pleasant girl who took her firing surprisingly well. The real fun hadn't even started yet. The silence in Carter's office after I said, "I accept," stretched for 3 full seconds. Long enough for him to realize I wasn't going to break. Long enough for the power to shift, invisibly but irreversibly. I watched his jaw tighten. He hated it. Hated that I didn't cry, didn't ask why, didn't beg. He thought he could rattle me, strip me of dignity and send me packing like a fired intern. Instead, I gave him a smile so cold and polite it could have frozen glass. "Is there anything else?" I asked, my voice smooth as glass. He blinked. "HR will handle the details." "Of course," I said. "Thank you for the opportunity." He didn't respond, just waved a hand like he was swatting away a fly. I stood, adjusted my blazer, and walked out. And that's when I heard them. His voice first as the door clicked shut behind me. She actually thanked me. Can you believe that? A laugh. Sharp, unkind. Finally got rid of that woman. Someone else can sign the contracts now. Then Linda's syrupy drawl, as fake as her office plants. She never had any edge, just nice. Too nice. Nice. I walked down the hall like I was weightless, because every word they spoke behind my back just made things easier. They didn't know I'd already won. Back at my desk, the world had gone quiet. Eyes avoided mine. No one wanted to be associated with the person marked for deletion. Even Mark, who once called me his work soulmate, suddenly found something very important to look at on his phone. I didn't mind. I wasn't here for goodbyes. I plugged in the flash drive I'd carried in my purse for weeks, labeled innocuously as Q4 templates. Click, click, click. I copied emails, exported contact lists, downloaded contracts I'd authored and spreadsheets I'd built. All of it clean, all of it above board. After all, they were mine. I'd written them, structured them, lived inside those documents for a decade. Then came the backup files. Insurance. Proof. Copies of every ignored raise request, every denied promotion, every glowing client review forwarded but never acknowledged, including the one from Tech Global's CEO that read, "Amanda is the reason we're still with you." I emailed them to myself, not for revenge, just to remember. Linda showed up 20 minutes later. She leaned on the edge of my cubicle like she was trying to make it look casual. "Need help packing?" I didn't even look up. "No." She shifted awkwardly. "You're taking this really well. Because you don't understand what just happened." I zipped up my laptop bag, slipped my last notebook inside. "It's funny," I said without looking at her, "how much you can learn about a company in 10 years. Her smile froze in place. I stood, straightened my posture, and gave her one last look. "Tell Carter something for me." "What?" "Enjoy the next board meeting." And then I left. In the elevator, I finally let myself breathe. Not because I was scared, because it had started. The real work. I'd planted seeds for months. Now it was time to water them. By the time I got home that evening, I'd already received 2 text messages from former clients who just happened to hear about my exit. That's the thing about high-value relationships. They don't fade quietly. One said, "So, where are you headed next?" Just curious. The other was more direct. "If you're taking clients, call me." That night, I stayed up until 3 a.m., registered the final version of the name, Blackthorn Consulting, bought the domain, uploaded a bare-bones site, just a logo, a placeholder, and a contact form. It was enough, because my name was the brand. Always had been. 3 days passed. I stayed quiet. Let the air settle. Let the company think it had exhaled me. But inside Vertex, chaos had started to whisper. I knew it would. I'd left tripwires. Carter thought contracts were paper. But I knew better. They were promises. And I had written them carefully. Clauses tucked neatly into footnotes. In the event of Amanda Weller's departure, both parties reserve the right to renegotiate terms. No one reads footnotes. No one questions what seems routine. Until the routine is gone. By Thursday, I got a call from an old friend in accounting. She whispered, "Carter's freaking out. Tech Global called. Asked where you went." I smiled. "Interesting." "They said they didn't agree to work with Vertex. They agreed to work with you." I already knew. I'd gotten the same call 20 minutes earlier, but it was satisfying hearing it from the inside. I went for a walk that evening. No headphones, no distractions. Just the sound of my own steps and the chill of early autumn. It smelled like smoke and endings. I thought about Carter's smirk, Linda's fake empathy. The way people I helped build careers for couldn't even meet my eyes. And I thought, good. Let them stew. Let them think I was just a fluke, a misstep, an unfortunate HR casualty. Because every day they didn't understand what I was building was a day I got further ahead. By Friday morning, I had 5 meetings scheduled, 2 with major clients, 1 with a lawyer, 1 with a designer, and 1 with my accountant. The last one was the most important. Because when I opened my company account, I needed it to be ready. I wasn't here to freelance. I was here to take everything they thought was theirs. Sometimes I still remember Carter's face when I stood up that day in his office. That flicker of confusion when I didn't beg, didn't plead, didn't even frown. I think in his mind that moment was a win, but it was the opposite. It was the start of a countdown. And the thing about countdowns, eventually they hit zero. Monday morning came soft and gray, the kind of day that blurs the edges of reality, as if the world knows something's about to shift. I didn't set an alarm. I didn't need to. My body woke up before the sun did, thrumming with the quiet anticipation of a symphony that had waited too long to play its first note. Coffee, silence, a slow breath. And then at 8:42 a.m., my phone buzzed. Not my personal line, the new one, the business one. I answered on the second ring. Amanda, the voice on the other end said. Tight, clipped, furious. You didn't tell me you were leaving. I smiled. Good morning, Patrick. Patrick Yang, Chief Operating Officer of Tech Global, our biggest client at Vertex, the kind of man who read every line of a contract and remembered what font it was typed in. We have a call with your team today at 10, he said, but if you're not there, I won't be, I said, keeping my tone calm. Not anymore. Silence. Then, explain. I didn't. I didn't have to, because what he said next proved everything was going exactly according to plan. We signed that agreement with you, Amanda. Not some wet behind the ears rep from marketing. And that clause about your removal, was that intentional? Of course it was. A pause. And then, to my delight, a chuckle. You always did play the long game. I said nothing. I'll need to speak with you formally, Patrick continued. We're considering options. I'm available this afternoon. Make it noon. And Amanda? Yes? Good move. At 9:03, Carter's phone rang. He didn't answer on the first ring, or the second. He was too busy gloating, probably sipping a smoothie, thinking he'd cleaned house, that he'd streamlined the operation. But by the third ring, his assistant knocked on the door, holding the phone like it was a live grenade. It's Tech Global. Carter frowned, took the call. And 30 seconds in, his face began to change. Not red, not pale, empty. Because when Patrick Yang asked, "Where's Amanda Weller?" and Carter tried to bluff, Patrick hit him with the clause. That little line I'd tucked in like a splinter. In the event of Amanda Weller's termination, both parties reserve the right to renegotiate or nullify this agreement in full. I'd added it to every major contract over the last 18 months. Small text. Legalese. Reviewed. Approved. Signed. Dozens of times. No one questioned it. Until now. Carter tried to reach me. 3 calls in the first hour. 2 emails. 1 Slack message sent from his executive account like I hadn't already been removed from the system. I didn't answer any of them. Blocked the number. Redirected the emails. And as for Slack? Please. That platform was already deleted from my life like the toxic ex it had become. By lunchtime, I had 4 more messages from clients. All of them similar. Hey, heard you're gone. Let's talk. Are you free for lunch this week? We're pausing everything with Vertex until we get clarification. Can you consult? I'd planned to wait before making things official, but the market had spoken, and so I picked up the phone. Blackthorn Consulting, I answered smoothly. This is Amanda. It felt good, like I'd taken off someone else's shoes after years of limping and stepped into my own. Carter, meanwhile, was unraveling. I heard from someone on the 3rd floor, sales, that by 2 p.m., the man who bragged about his calm under pressure had knocked a stack of files off his desk in front of the entire executive team. They said Amanda Weller was the brand, Tech Global told him. And they weren't wrong. For years, Vertex had acted like my work was a lucky side effect of their reputation. That their name carried the deals, but clients knew better. I was the handshake, the strategy, the person who returned emails at midnight and flew across the country on 12 hours' notice. And now, I was gone. But the contracts hadn't forgotten me. By Tuesday, I had 10 meetings scheduled, 5 offers, and 3 full-blown project scopes submitted for quote. It happened faster than even I expected. I'd built the relationships, done the groundwork. But now they came to me. No HR filters, no red tape, no Carter Boyd. Just direct calls from executives saying, let's skip the middleman. By Wednesday, 3 clients had officially pulled out of Vertex. And that was only the beginning. Because once one domino falls, on Thursday morning, my phone rang again. Not a client this time. It was an unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. But then I listened. It was Carter. His voice had changed. Gone was the smug tone, the casual dominance. In its place, panic wrapped in sugar. Amanda, listen. We might have underestimated your role. We'd like to talk. Maybe there's a way to work something out. If this is about money, I stopped the message right there. If this was about money? No, Carter. It never was. It was about value and respect. And the fact that you thought I was a cost center when I was the reason you still had lights on. I didn't call him back. I didn't even reply. I just updated the website. Blackthorn Consulting, built by relationships, powered by results. By the end of the week, 5 clients had officially announced they were leaving Vertex. 2 of them, Tech Global and Medicor, published joint press releases naming Blackthorn as their new consulting partner. I didn't pay for PR. I didn't have to. Their announcement made the rounds on LinkedIn like wildfire. And suddenly, my inbox was full of recruiters, journalists, and, of course, employees from Vertex, all saying the same thing in different ways. Did you see this? Yes, I did. And I wasn't done yet. The final blow came late Friday afternoon. Another message from Carter. Not voicemail this time. Email. 3 lines long. We need to talk. It's urgent. Please call me back. The subject line? Contract fallout. I closed the message, then opened a new one. To all my new clients. Subject? Welcome to Blackthorn Body. Thank you for trusting me to keep doing what I've always done. Putting you first. I'm honored to build something better with you. I hit send. Then I poured a glass of wine, leaned back in my chair, and smiled. Because this wasn't revenge. This was math. They took away one person and lost everything she carried. I didn't have to raise my voice. I didn't need to slam doors or write exposés. All I had to do was walk out and let the silence speak louder than anything I could have said. It was a Monday, 2 weeks after my exit, when the headlines hit. Tech Global drops Vertex for former exec's consulting firm. That was the first one. The article included a brief, matter-of-fact statement. We've worked with Amanda Weller for nearly a decade. Our loyalty follows people, not logos. And just like that, the truth wasn't a whisper anymore. It was a declaration. Other clients followed. Medicor, Strataline, Quantex, names that made up 40% of Vertex's premium tier contracts were now publicly announcing their transition to Blackthorn Consulting. I didn't gloat. I didn't comment. I let the facts speak for me. But the market? It responded instantly. By end of day, Vertex Solutions stock had dropped 15%. 15% in one day. It would have been poetic if it weren't so predictable. They thought I was a line item. Turns out I was the foundation. By Tuesday morning, the calls from inside Vertex started coming in. Not to bring me back, but to tell me what was unraveling. Carter had gone silent, skipped the leadership meeting. No inspirational emails, no synergy slides. Just a closed door and, reportedly, a half-empty whiskey bottle in his desk drawer. He underestimated me. But worse, he underestimated the contracts, the people, the trust. Wednesday afternoon, the board stepped in. The official reason was strategic mismanagement and improper forecasting. But everyone knew the truth. You don't fire your best asset and expect the building to stand. And just like that, Carter Boyd was gone. No goodbye email, no farewell party, just gone. Linda followed him out the door a few days later. Unlike Carter, she didn't try to spin it. Word got around that the board cited negligence in risk assessment and failure to retain key personnel. Translation: you let Amanda slip through your fingers and now we're bleeding. Apparently, she tried to throw Carter under the bus in her final meeting, said he made the call, that she expressed concerns. But no one bought it. I was the girl she said never had any edge. Funny how things turn. And me? I signed a lease that Friday. An office downtown. Corner unit, exposed brick. Nothing extravagant, but it felt right. Clean, sharp, new. As I walked the space, box in hand, I looked at the wall across from my desk. Then I pulled out the last thing from the box. A slim black frame with a single page inside. My termination letter from Vertex Solutions. I hung it right in the center of that wall. Underneath, a handwritten note I'd added the night I left. Thank you for the inspiration. We hired our first employee 2 weeks later. Then another. A project manager. A part-time legal consultant. Slowly, deliberately, just the way I built everything else. We didn't chase headlines. We didn't spend on billboards or buzzwords. We delivered. And the clients? They stayed. Because when you treat people like partners instead of portfolios, they remember. One evening, as I was locking up, I saw my reflection in the glass door. Same blazer, same woman. But this time, no one could take anything from me. The irony still makes me smile. Carter and Linda thought they fired me, but they didn't fire me. They freed me. Freed me to build something they never could have imagined. Freed me to be who I'd always been, without pretending, without apologizing. And when the world finally saw it too, that was the real justice. Not headlines, not stock prices, but knowing they had the best in the building, and they let her walk out. They say still waters run deep. They're right. People like me, we don't scream for attention. We don't stomp our feet. We just watch. Take notes. Wait. And then we move. And when we move, we don't come back the same. So here's what I've learned. Never underestimate the quiet ones. We might not speak up, but we never stop paying attention. And we never forget. Have you ever felt invisible at work? Undervalued? Ignored? Tell me your story in the comments. You're not alone. And if Amanda's story hit home for you, like, share, and follow for more stories about the underestimated rising up. Sometimes the ones you ignore the most are the ones you should have feared from the start.